Standing by for us. Patricia, earlier when you posed questions to the new head of the NPA, you asked the question of how she was going to deal with any potential political interference. What was her response to that?
Well, certainly that was the question that I asked. Of course, Nompu, you would know that today she is formally introduced to the NPA. She met her colleagues, and there you heard a very strong message from her, in a nutshell, saying that justice has to win. Justice needs to take priority at all times. And that question that I ask in terms of how she's going to deal with political pressure, with political interference, as we have seen over the years, political pressure always perhaps being at the center of some of the irregularities, some of the controversies that we have read about, that we learn of, and that perhaps have eroded the integrity and the credibility of the NPA. She coming out very strongly, saying that there is no negotiation, and there won't be any political interference as far as that is concerned. And also emphasizing, saying, but before she was actually appointed as the National Director of Public Prosecutions, she made it very clear to actually bring that point under the attention of course, President Cyril Ramaphosa. And he gave her the assurance and his word that there will be no political interference. But she's obviously a smart woman, and it seems like she is very much prepared for whatever may come. And she made it very clear that one does not know what the future holds. You don't know how situations may pan out, but she is giving her word to South Africans that she will fight that as far as she can, even if it means going to the highest court in the land, the Constitutional Court, to of course use the Constitution to protect her stance on having no political interference and perhaps no pressure that can erode the image of the NPA further than we have already seen over the years. So let's speak to her political head, the Minister of Justice, Advocate Michael Masutha. Advocate, you very confident in your welcoming speech today, saying that you delighted. Basically, in a nutshell, she's a new broom, and she's here to clean up the rogue elements that may exist within the NPA. Just in short, several points already that you've heard from the media that need urgent attention. And we have to go back to some of the allegations that we have seen coming out of perhaps the Zondo Commission and the inquiry into the NPA deputies, where there's allegations already of bribery and so forth. And she highlighted that there will be action, but she obviously needs to familiarize herself, and you'll be giving her the support that she needs. Let's just go through that.
Well, you'd recall that in the almost 5-year stint that I have served in this position, I've always stood up for this institution and its leadership. Whenever Sean Abrams was under attack, I put my neck on the block to say that, I had confidence in him, and I supported him through and through. And that's the same approach I'm going to adopt in giving that same political support to the new NDPP. I believe that a person in my position have that responsibility, especially in the face of intense attack from various sources. But secondly, to say that Sean Abrams, if he was here, would tell you that at no stage would I have put him under any form of pressure, political or otherwise, to do or not to do anything relating to his mandate. And I've always deferred to him as the person at the leadership of the helm, at the helm, and so will be the case in this instance, that I will always defer to the leader of the institution.
Minister, one of the biggest tasks perhaps would be to flush out the rogue elements within the NPA, and that would start with your own colleagues. As we just mentioned, 2 of them are already facing serious allegations where they perhaps really undermined the Constitution, and that is alleged. Obviously, we don't know all the facts as yet, but what do you suggest should be the priority? We're running out of time to deal in particular with NPA officials who are undermining the rule of law, who are eroding the integrity of the institution and compromising, of course, the integrity of the rule of law in the country.
Justice must take its course. I always say that, black men, black women, white men, white women, you're on your own. If you choose the wrong path, you take responsibility for your choices. And of course, the institutions that are entrusted with the responsibility to enforce the rule of law should take their course, and that should be the approach in this instance as well. You would notice that at no stage would I ever have intervened or interfered whenever any person of high standing was confronted with any action where people had to take responsibility for their actions, and that's always been my attitude.
All right, thank you so much, the Minister of Justice, Advocate Michael Masutha, who today officially, of course, introduced the new NPA boss, Advocate Shamila Batohi, to her colleagues here. Of course, it means a new dawn for the NPA, but a lot of challenges within the institution. Will she be up for the big task ahead to, of course, turn around the image of the institution, but also put South Africans first and make sure that the rule of law and the country's constitution takes center stage and priority? It's back to you in the studio.
Thanks very much, Patricia.